Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Being seen as handsome is influenced by race and culture. Being seen as handsome is influenced by race and culture. This is a very important thing, right? And this is what, one of the fallacies out there is people, particularly men, ironically some men who call themselves black pill who think there's some one universal standard and that's what all women like, which quite frankly shows some cultural bias and also some racism. Let's just be real on that shit. Let's just be real. Go ahead and thumb it down. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to be raw on some shit. Because what women consider handsome, and even spread that to the body game, what bodies they consider attractive, and even height is really influenced by not just their race, but their culture. It's no universal thing. Anybody who doubt that, go to any region in the country. Get out your house and go to any region in the country. Go to any city on the planet. Just pay attention who's with who. There's nothing universal. People want to think that, and any studies that say so, I've kind of found that those studies only include certain men or women. Like I said, a cultural bias. Because if it was something else, if you talk to women of different races, if you talk to women of different cultures, they're not going to agree on what's attractive. Like I remember one time, like it was about bodies, right? It was a website, and I gotta find that website again, but it was talking about the types of bodies that women went crazy over. And they had Brad Pitt's body, right? One of the bodies included like from Fight Club. And a lot of women liked it and all of that stuff. But then that same thing was shown to a bunch of black women, and somebody said they showed it to them and they were like, where's Thor? Because Thor is thicker, he's bigger and stuff. That's a big difference. And I actually thought about this, right? I thought about this because I remember one time somebody sent me a clip of, because people, if a detractor say something about me on another page or something, people will eventually come back, oh yeah, they were saying this or that. Somebody sent me something, it was a detractor saying, yeah, Rom he's bald. Okay, I shaved my head. And I immediately knew then, I said, okay, that's a white racist type who probably ain't been in any predominantly black area. Because you got some people, especially, guys who call them black pills, say, oh, no hair, it's over. All right. And I thought about that. I just laughed about it because I said, they ain't been in a real black community. They ain't been in a real black community. Because I thought about it again. There's a show on the OWN network called Ready to Love, right? Ready to Love. And it's hosted by Nephew Tommy and everything. It's hosted by Nephew Tommy. In fact, I'll see if I can put a link for the first episode of the series. Now, it was a funny thing. So they got these black men and women, tend to be ages 30s to 40s and stuff, all looking for love. Now, this was a funny thing. If you look at the men in it, there was something in common. Most of them had shaved heads and beards. Shaved head and beards. So it cuts out that whole jawline argument and also the hair argument. But it was within the black community. It's within the black community. Because we got to be real on some shit. All races ain't going to see the same type of man a certain way. Like, I'll use myself for an example. Now, in some communities, they might say, oh, you big, you this or that. But then in some black areas, they're going to be like, Rom, you need to put on some weight. I'm serious. Or you go to parts of Africa or something. It's like everybody don't see the same thing. And even with the height thing, right? Even with the height thing, anybody who's been around any Hispanic communities, it's rare. It's rare you might see someone Hispanic or particularly like from Central America. I'll use that region because anybody knows you see a lot of especially on the East Coast of the United States, particularly in this region, you have a lot of Central Americans. You have a whole lot of Central Americans, or even like some of the gangs, everything from gangs to workers, whatever. But if you look at the average height, it's going to be rare you find one over 6 feet. It's different regions and different, in some Asian countries, it's rare to find somebody over 6 feet. Yet they be having lots of kids and everything. And they looking at it differently. Like facial features, stuff like that. It's not all the same. And it's really influenced by race and culture. Indeed, I remember I talked about this show on Netflix I checked out, Toy Boy. And it was about these male exotic dancers over in Spain and everything. And the main dancers, they were all on the slim side. Even one of them was a brother, but he was a slimmer type of brother. And I remember Cousin T-Tar, he had mentioned something about that, like what's physically considered ideal in Europe is different in the United States. In the United States, the dudes are a little bit bigger. And in fact, there had been a video about, some videos about like in different places, women see ideal is different, like the 6-pack abs and stuff and all of that. That's big in the United States. But then, in Western cultures, but you go other places, they're like, eh. And indeed, even the size on somebody, there's many like so-called third world countries where you get all the women in the world, but you gotta have some meat on you because it's seen as a sign of prosperity. And that's one thing. It's not everything is shaped. Is the racial element is there, the cultural element is there, even the class element is there. You got to have a certain roughness. Like if you in certain poor areas, there's a certain roughness. And this goes across race. It's a certain size and everything. But then if you in some other areas, okay, you can look a certain way. It's not universal. Like if you put let me use that thing black people do, the Chad thing. You put those Chads in a poor neighborhood, not even a poor black neighborhood. Let's say, they consider, these white guys, model and all of that. Put them in some redneck areas. Put them in some poor white areas. And I'm going to guarantee the women be like, mm. But then you get that kind of rougher looking guy, he ain't as cut and all of that. Don't got those smooth facial features, probably got that beard and some tats or something. Or you get some of those white areas where, quite frankly, they, what they would call blue-eyed soul brothers. So, their speech intonations or something, they'll look at that same so-called Chad and be like, seriously, you talk to the women. Seriously, because like where I live, you got a lot of poor whites. In the general, like if I drive out 5 miles, can hit a trailer park or something. These dudes ain't cut. These dudes don't look like no Chad, but they be having like a girlfriend, 2 or 3 kids. They look different. And that's in the white area, definitely in the black areas. Definitely in the black areas and stuff. And that's across the world as far as class, the culture, the race, Because and people who doubt that, think about it from a man's point of view. Like a difference. Like if you get a bunch of white guys, they'll see a woman, she's slim or something, that's the ideal. I talked about this in Meeting Attractive Women. I said it's not universal. They'll see, you pretty face, maybe a little bit extra breast and stuff, but the butt is like, In fact, I remember, let me shout out Mr. 1950. Content creator. He had shared some on his IG and, he had shared this clip and they were talking about this. It showed a white woman and they were talking about she had the perfect butt. And brothers, they were clowning that. It's like, please, that's just for, and people know, black community, black men. Oh no, that woman gotta have that like big round thing. She gotta have that big, nice round thing in general. But that's a cultural thing, that's a racial thing. So women are the exact same way. So one of the things that a man has to do, as far as his handsomeness or being considered handsome, he gotta consider where he at. Because there's gonna be a lot of stuff. Also, what enhances it? What enhances it? Getting tattoos or looking a certain way. What they do? What's their hairstyle? Like I said, like right now, big thing, especially with in the black community with black men 30 and over, is the shaved head and beard. Like I did a video on beard game, and I was like, I'll see how long it lasts, and it's still lasting. But that's the look. That's the look. That's the main look. Now with younger people, it could be different, but once you reach a certain age, if you got that shaved head, you got that beard, shit, you gonna get some play. You pretty much have to have it. It's bad to the point you got some people faking like they got a beard. You got some brothers faking like they got a beard, and you got some brothers shaving their head even if they really don't need to. They if they let it grow out, they got a full head of hair. And then even then, in some communities, you need to have locks. You need to have that hair out. You gotta have that rough look. So it changes. And I'm using an example of the black community, white community, but like I said, in the Hispanic community, like where I live, I'm cool with like some of the young Hispanic ladies who are cleaning and stuff. Usually when they with a guy, or I see them with a guy, because throughout the area, the guy's not that tall. The guy's not that tall. So even that height thing is different. It's different. There's nothing universal. So you got to think, okay, what if as a man, you got to think, all right, what does my look appeal to? Because I can tell you, okay, like myself, shout out BGS for the Octane model. Like people can't tell what I do. I look blue collar to a lot of people if I don't open my mouth and everything. So some women have seen me, and I notice I get a lot of attention from the working class type of women, working class black women especially. Because I look like I might work construction or something blue collar, and that's cool. Not as much from more upper class women until I talk, and I also gotta be cognizant of what clothes I'm wearing. So, and anybody who's been in these different communities can say that. Everybody can say it. They can look handsome to one group. You get some brothers, and they might be seen as handsome, maybe because they look closer to white, their phenotype and all of that, but you put them in the hood or something, or you put them around predominantly black people, black women in certain areas, they're gonna be like, nah, he look corny. And same thing, like I said, same thing with some white guys. Same thing with some white guys. You put Chad in some redneck areas or some poor white areas, and they just gonna be like, Seriously, it's not universal. You see, a lot of people might not realize it because a lot of people get caught up, whatever their social class is, they just get caught up there, but they don't see the bigger picture. But that's just a reality. It's nothing universal. Any talk of university or something being universal is some bullshit. And they can come on here and say all that shit. I would say, okay, take that person and put them in this area and let's see what happens in the streets. In the streets, in the favelas, in some poor areas. There's a lot that goes into it, because even if your looks, see one thing, even with your looks, you still gotta like fit into whatever culture you in. Like I shared a pic, last time I touched on this, I shared a pic when I was at a black upper class event. Everything was shaved, mustache and everything. I was looking clean. But yeah, I've seen some pictures of me before that I'll let this all grow out. But that'll be good for one class. But if I went to that event, like all of it grown out, they'd have been like, where you from? So that's just a reality. That's the reality of it. So, and my point is this. My biggest point is this. Don't get caught up into what somebody else say is this or that. Find your lane, find your tribe. Try to get an idea where the women respond to you best. Like I said, like working class women, stuff like that, they actually respond to me the best if I don't say anything. More upper class women, they'll respond to me depending on what kind of clothes I'm wearing and where I'm at, and even like, am I shaved or anything? Like upper class, like with other upper class, more upper class black women, you can get away now just with a shaved head and just a good clean beard. You know, they got a little bit of edge, maybe have an earring or something. And so, but if you're looking too thuggish or rough, forget about it, right? So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna provide I'll provide like a link to Ready to Love to show us. Think about it, this is a major dating show. Most of the brothers on there I mean, to the point they kind of look alike. You're like, wait a minute. Shaved head and beard, most of them. Only a few of them had like hair. And they even made a comment, bald and beard. And the host of it, he's just totally shaved. So it's a different vibe. So you can't just say, oh, this and that. It's like it depends on the community, depends on the race, depends on the social class. All right? And this is very key. This is very key to understand. So it's just understanding, okay, where do you fit? So anyway, that's all I have for today. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.